And we are going to bring on now our final speaker of the 2 days, Kimberly Crow. And Kimberly is an amazing woman whom I can call friend. I really would just like continue to bump into each other. And that's just how this happens in the entrepreneurial world. And so I'm very, very happy to have Kimberly. I mean, she is like wanted on all these stages, and she's traveling here and she's traveling there. Kimberly, welcome to Women Bustin' Barriers.
Hey, super glad to be here.
Not as glad as I am to have you, girlfriend. I know you're doing your own thing. Kimberly is an award-winning international, inspirational, transformational public speaker, TEDx, keynote. She is an authority on speak to sell. See, she is interested in us monetizing our speaking ability, and she facilitates that, right? She's like stepping into that void and building that bridge for us. I'm completely impressed with the amount of energy that Kimberly has. She's the mother of two. She calls herself an adventure seeker. She's hiked sections of the Pacific Crest Trail, navigated Class 4 rapids on Costa Rica's female Olympic medal winning whitewater champion, sailed down the coast of Mexico on a 42-foot Yankee Clipper, traversed 200 miles on horseback through Canada's Jasper National Park. Her motto is live life out loud. Where in the world are you coming to us from today, Kimberly?
Well, today I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where my daughter lives. I just finished an event in Los Angeles and another one in San Diego. And next week, is it next week or the week after? I'm headed to Galveston to go on a cruise hopefully not a cruise with as much adventure as Tony was just mentioning, but it is a cruise down through the Western Caribbean. We're super excited about that. It's going to be amazing.
Well, I did just see some advertising for it, and I was like, oh, dang, I don't think I can do that from a day conference.
Oh, we need you to come with us. It's going to be super fun. It's April 7th through 14th. It's going to be fantastic. It's called the Influencers Cruise.
Ping Kimberly to get in on this. I mean, who doesn't want to get away from this cold weather? I mean, I'm still in New Jersey, and it's like a little
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah.
This little book, Shift Your Narrative.
Yeah. I can't believe you have that.
It's
Also,
sweetheart. I don't just have it. I have got multicolored highlighting and underlining and
wow.
whatnot. And here is what I want to share with our audience, and then I want you to tell us how you busted through at least this one barrier. And we're interested in anything else you want to share. You say, I remember in 2017, I was about to do my first radio show interview. Now, remember, you guys, she said she had been on many platforms and stages, live theater, podcasts, worked as a sports announcer at an equestrian polo games, pretty seasoned at being on the stage, but for whatever reason, this one freaked me out. What if I blow it? And a whole bunch of other kinds of, questions of doubt that our ego feeds us at the most horrible times. And I want you to speak of how you busted through that.
So what you're talking about, yeah, Deborah, I've been on thousands of stages, over 1,000 stages by that time. Now I've been on over 5,000 stages. She said, "Oh, I'd love to have you on my radio show," and I thought, "Oh yeah, great, I can do that." And she selected me, and I said, I'm not sure why I was selected. And she said, "Well, you were one of the people I made that offer to about 30 people at the event. You were the only one who followed up, and you did a great job. So you're in. You're going to be there live on Tuesday." And I was like, "Great." And then as the day got closer and closer, I was so freaked out. I was like, what am I going to say? What if I screw up? It's a live show. It's going out on the airwaves. Like everybody could hear it. And for whatever reason, I was all wrapped up in the, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And what if I blow it? And imposter syndrome just came up really, really hard at that particular one. I don't know why, because I'd been on live stages before, but I think because I always was following a script or I always knew what I was going to say, this particular one was sort of like an off the cuff speaking opportunity. And even though I'd done improv and impromptu before, it had me in its grip. And I thought, my gosh, how am I ever going to get over this? And I'd love to say that I blew it away, that I, took a deep breath and magic sprinkles happened and I crushed it. I didn't, but I did finish it. And when you come out the other side and you realize that you didn't die from it, You always realize that it's something you can survive, that we're all human, that we all have that human aspect, that we all go through periods of imposter syndrome, that we all experience very similar fears and anxieties around different things. And when you hit a barrier and you see that it's there, you have two choices. You can either keep going and walk forward and hit that barrier and bust through it, or you can stop and turn around and not have the experience of having conquered it. But I know that the people in this audience, put a hell yes in the chat if you've ever conquered a barrier that you didn't think you were going to be able to conquer, and then you came out the other side of it and you were like, okay, it wasn't perfect, but I didn't die, right? Put hell yes in the chat box if that's you, because that's what we're going for. That's the bust through barriers. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be like, oh, that was super amazing. And the very first time I ever got on a microphone and sung the Star Spangled Banner, it was perfect in every note or whatever. It doesn't have to be that way. It just has to be the next time you do something, because if you bust through that, it gives you the confidence to do it again. Nobody was great at speaking at the very beginning. We all got better with time. And the best way to get over your fear of public speaking is to publicly speak.
Do it. Do it. And Kimberly hosts the Speaker Playhouse every single week.
It's true. Yeah.
Thursdays, right? Is it Thursdays? Yes.
Yeah.
And she's founder of the Entrepreneur's Rocket Fuel. So tell us how you've helped other people bust through their barriers, because there's a whole lot of people that don't know how to speak or are afraid of speaking, and you've just catapulted their success through your coaching.
Yeah, I think probably the most fun way to get on stages is to do podcasts. That's probably the easiest, lowest barrier to entry. I think people, I used to say it was like, just do a Facebook Live, go live on Facebook and record yourself talking, just walking down the street with your dog or whatever. People love watching those videos. But that apparently is one of the most super intensive fears that people have, like going live and recording themselves and watching themselves later and being like, oh, I was terrible, But podcasts are a conversation with another person, sort of like this, right?
Yes.
I think podcasts are easier than summits in some ways, because when you speak on a podcast, it's pre-recorded. So if all hell breaks loose and it's a complete disaster, theoretically, you could just go back and re-record. A summit is live. So whatever happens during this summit happens. I've put on over 100 summits and given people thousands of opportunities to speak on stages. And when they do, and they don't die from it, and they realize that that's a barrier that they busted through, they feel so incredibly powerful. And that's really what it's all about, is getting to that other side, knowing that you did accomplish it, even if it wasn't perfect, which it won't be, because we're all human, and that you realize that next time you have something better to do, but it's going to get easier the next time you do it.
Absolutely. Kimberly has a great TEDx talk. I invite you to join me and having watched, saying you've watched it and comment on it and like it and all that stuff. And she says in there, she has that everyone has a human desire, a sweet, seductive human desire to be right. Right.
That's
and
true.
she makes the surprising argument that being right is just a fairy tale we tell ourselves. And she shares her insight as to why we slip so easily into the confirmation bias, why we give credit to information that reinforces the existing beliefs and biases, which are almost always negative, while ignoring the information that conflicts with those beliefs.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that TEDx was really, really special. Actually, there's a story behind the story.
Okay.
That TEDx, I had gotten a coach, and I was with a group of about 11 people who all were going through the same program I was going through. And it was a year-long program. We were going to do our TEDx, and it was scheduled for April of 2020, which was right after COVID hit.
Yeah.
And was it 2020? I think it was 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it 2020? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
And so COVID hit in like early March, late February, early March. And of course they put it off, right? And so it got pushed back, and we were in this great theater in Las Vegas that could have held about 1,000 people. We did it, and we did it in August, but we were all still wearing masks. It had to be 6 feet apart, and it was really crazy. Luckily, the speakers didn't actually have to wear masks. So we do have a TEDx. It was on the red dot. Many other TEDx's at that time were actually being recorded in people's homes, on Zoom.
Yes,
and they didn't have the red dot. So we did have that. But there were a whole bunch of us, and there were several who were really, really freaked out. myself included. I've never experienced a panic attack, but if I did, it would have been then. I was literally laying on the floor behind the stage before I went on, just taking deep breaths, trying to focus, breathing in the universe and letting it help me. There's something about having an opportunity to get on that red dot that is very intimidating, that is very powerful, but also can bring a lot of people to their knees. And there were many people in the room that were doing that. There were only about 100 people watching during the event because we had to spread out 6 feet apart. However, it was a great audience. They were all very warm and supportive. But those 100 people watching that wasn't the impact that we were there to make. It was the impact from the 70,000 that have watched my TED Talks since then. And I think that's really where the impact, that's where the rubber meets the road. It was all about confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is when we continue to believe and gather evidence to prove ourselves right about whatever we already believe. And we reject and refuse to accept any information that proves us wrong. For example, if we have a story that we were not loved as children, that our parents, that our parents were never there for us, we will gather evidence. And I actually had one with my dad. I was like, oh, he just didn't really want to be around me very much. And I had all this evidence, these things that proved that true. And I would gather that evidence and be like, see this one time at this birthday party, and see this other time when I really wanted him there and he wasn't, and see this other time. And I would have all these proofs that he didn't really want to hang out with me when I was young. And later I went through some personal development, and they said, those are just stories you're telling yourself. And I'm like, no, look at all this evidence. It's true, right? If you can find any evidence to the contrary. And as it was really hard to do because you have this belief and you're sure you're right.
Yes.
And as I looked at it, I was like, oh, there were times, here's an example of one time, and here's another example of one time. And here's some emails that I got from him. And here's some other things that showed that he really was trying to see me more often, to get into my life, to care about what I was up to and what I was doing. But I just wasn't willing to look at them because I'd already believed a story that just wasn't necessarily true, and had gathered enough evidence to prove myself right over and over again. But once I realized that there was evidence to the contrary, I had a much better relationship with my dad, knowing that all along he's just human. Sometimes he couldn't be there. Sometimes he could. Sometimes he wanted to and couldn't be there. And that's just how we all are, right? So it was really fascinating. And since that time, I decided to really dig into confirmation bias, and that what became a passion project of mine. And I gave my TEDx talk about how we continue to prove ourselves right, even when there's evidence to the contrary. And there were Harvard and Yale studies done about it that prove that people have confirmation bias and lean on it regularly so that they can feel like they're right.
That hits me at so many levels. I mean, I was the advisor to widows, and like if their husband bought a stock, and I'd say, well, this stock isn't contributing to your success, and it's not going to fuel your path and everything. No, Bill picked that.
Right.
I'm sure it's good, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, that's just like an aside, but the fact is, you're brilliant on this, and I want to read more of what you had to say. Now, let me just, again, it's my stickers, right?
I love that you do that.
Yeah. Page 15. People experiencing imposter syndrome often experience the fear of being found out, quote, and believe that they are not as competent or skilled as others perceive them to be. And I wrote the big circle. Everything crashes and burns if, let's say, if someone even thinks or says, no. This is aligning in my world with bag lady fear. You know what the bag lady fear is? Lost everything.
Yeah.
This is only true if, like, you invested with Madoc, every dollar, or you put every dollar in a click of a finger, you lost everything. So, you're pointing out, and this is a brilliant book. I want everybody to read it. Shift Your Narrative, Kimberly Crow. You're talking about the weight that we tend to carry. And who of us hasn't slipped into imposter syndrome?
Oh,
I
yeah.
have. So you're talking about the weight of what if everybody finds out what? You had one bad hour, 1 hour in which you weren't unbelievably perfect. So let's put things in context, women. Women are hardwired to think contextually. Men, more content. Give me more, give me more. Women are like, how does that fit with this? How does this fit with this? And yet, when it amounts to us praising and recognizing ourselves and our brilliance and our authenticity and our desire to move into bigger spheres, even when we don't know the exact next step to take, I say follow that calling, because likely no one is going to find out that you're on an imperfect journey, and you're doing probably pretty darn good, sister. What do you think?
I totally agree with that. There are so many people who beat themselves up so badly when when they, because the good news and the bad news is the same news. It's that we're all human, that we just all are human, and we all are going to
Mic
make mistakes.
drop. Mic
Yep.
drop.
We're all going to make mistakes, and it's okay, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to explore, we're here to learn, we're here to thrive and choose our path and do more things that we enjoy doing. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing. That's my methodology. I love it. And you really just need to get out there and be willing to fail, be willing to make a mistake, because everybody out there is doing the same thing, doing the best they can with what they have.
Completely. And then I'll just finish my comments here with you're talking about shifting the narrative, chapter 8,
Mhm.
shifting the narrative. And you say it demonstrates there's an important distinction between a shift and a change. Like you and your friend went into the Netflix
Oh
or
yeah.
the rental store, and it was like a whole lot more than what you paid before. And you said, wait a minute. This isn't true. We just have two movies here. And she says, hello, yes, our prices have recently moved. That was her word. And what you were moved. What an interesting way of turn of phrase. You say it demonstrates an important distinction between a shift and change. Change is something that we resist. Shifting is something that our brains can quickly adopt to. Also true. Also true. Their prices have moved. All right, whatever. But that was just funny. And you say at the end, if you don't already know this on page 60, let me be the first to tell you. This is a Kimberly Crowism. I'm just sharing it. There is nothing wrong with you. You, and there never was, and there never will be. So
Yep.
just remove that from your stratosphere and move boldly forward. Be a we can do it woman. Take radical responsibility, like Kimberly's talking about,
Yes.
and move through whatever barrier to find a better, brighter version of your brilliance, because you are.
Ooh, well said, Deborah. I love that. Yeah, I think, imposter syndrome is that thing that holds us back from allowing ourselves to be human and make mistakes. But that's what we're here to do. It's part of the process, and everybody's doing it. There are people who look fantastic on stage, like Deborah does, and other people like, oh, I could never do that, right? I'm not sure I could ever do that. You can. It's just a matter of wanting to step into that realm and being willing to make mistakes along the way. I know that I've been on tons of stages, and not all of them have gone perfectly, believe it or not, right? Many of them I've made mistakes. I often say, I've been on thousands of stages. My best talk ever is my next one, because you
There
can
you
get better.
love that. Love that. Who has questions for Kimberly? I'm telling you what, this is a gal that you want to get close to, you want to connect with, you want to come on to her Thursday speaker playhouses. And
Yeah,
she's really right. Her motto is, if it ain't fun, she ain't doing it.
that's right. Absolutely. And Deborah is fantastic. Deborah and I had a chance. I don't know. I know that many people are meet friends, and they have friends in boxes through Zoom, and that's fantastic. Zoom's such a wonderful advent where we can all really connect around the world, whether we're in the same time zone or whether we're in the same city or country. But being able to connect on Zoom is fantastic. But being able to hug Deborah in person on the Marketers Cruise was fantastic. It's absolutely amazing to be able to do that. So I encourage you all to get out there and have a lot of fun meeting people in person and speaking on in-person stages. They are fantastic. Speakers
They
Playhouse,
are
Wendy,
indeed.
can be, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
She asked, how do we find Speakers Playhouses? And it's actually speakersplayhouse.com. You can go there and it's absolutely free every single week. And would love to have you all join us. If you're looking for opportunities to speak on other people's stages, to share your message with the world, maybe on a podcast to get started, or maybe on a summit like this one. We have quite a few summits that we have right now. We are literally booking for more than 1,000 speaking spots. So I'm sure there's one for you if you would like to stand up and raise your voice.
Oh, stand up, speak out, girlfriends. We got to do this. And you're giving us a free gift. Kimberly, tell us about it.
Yes. So our free gift is the 20 networking tips to add rocket fuel to your business. And it's a really fun opportunity to be able to, it's just one page and it's got all 20 tips. I went to a bunch of different folks at networking events and I was like, what makes you successful? And found the things that actually make us successful. Don't forget to read number 18, 19, and 20. They are super important.
You're just going to leave us with that 18, 19, and 20. Yes, you are. Because we want to get it. I think I downloaded it. I'm just not remembering.
It's just a one
19.
page. Yeah, it's just one page sheet. 18, 19, and 20 are the most important.
So who has their hand up? I'm not so great at noticing questions and so forth, but if everybody sees them, you want to give us any little secret stories that I haven't uncovered that caused you to?
Man, you did such a good job with so many varieties of things. I will say that I have really enjoyed bringing speaking to sort of the masses, to be able to have more people get on stages. I believe if you're not being seen, you're being overlooked, and that's such a shame, right? So we want to get you on as many stages as possible because what you have is magic. And the world needs it. If you know that you have magic inside you, something that can help other people live a better life, have more happiness, have more joy, have more safety, have more peace, put magic in the chat box and let us know that you have magic in the chat box. And if you do, which all of you do, all of you have magic of some kind, even if it's just that you're a gardener and you love planting plants in your front yard so that the world can drive by and see them, that is magic for the rest of the world. So Wendy knows she has it. Deborah knows she has it. Mona knows she has magic. That is fantastic. You all do have magic. Cynthia knows she has magic. You all do have magic. It's super important that you get that magic out into the world. And here's why. Because if you don't do it, then somebody with half your talent and twice your price will sell their solution to your customers instead of you selling it. And you could get out there and really make a better, more positive impact in the world. But you have to get out there. You've got to be seen. If you're not being seen, you're being overlooked. If you're not being heard, your message is not getting out there. And if you're not regularly getting it out on stages, then it won't have the impact that it could potentially have before you leave the planet.
Wow. Mona, what's your question? That's a mic drop moment again, Kim.
Thank you. Mona has a question?
I thought Mona had her hand raised. Go ahead, Nesta. Take yourself off mute.
Yeah, I didn't get the name of the book.
Oh, it's Shift Your Trend. Yep.
Oh, okay, great.
And we did put a link in the chat for you to get it if you are interested in it.
And it's so cool because you can just put it right in your purse and just keep.
I love it. Actually, when it first came out, I was like, oh, it's a little tiny thing. And then one of my girlfriends was like, this is great. This is not intimidating. This thing people can stick in their their pocketbooks, piece of cake, easy grab. And I was like, oh, that's a really good point. So it's a tight little read, I will tell you.
Yes, it is. It is. Thanks, Nesta. I appreciate your pointing that out and making certain everybody has the information. We put the link in about Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, Speakers Playhouse. Did we do all those?
I think so. I can put it in about Speakers Playhouse.
We did.
Iris did. Iris did.
Yes.
Awesome.
And the link to our book, the link to upgrade to VIP, they're all in the chat.
Excellent.
So good. Thanks for your administration and complete key assistance, Iris. I so appreciate it. Listen, Kimberly Crow is really providing the footbridge, right, between people that have a message and don't yet know how big their audience is,
Yeah.
right? I was in Mark Victor Hansen's inner circle for a year, and he brought in hugely popular and famous speakers. And one of the speakers was a marketing person, and he said, so imagine you've got this perfect solution, whatever your business is, a widget, a service, whatever. It's a good solution to people with a problem. So imagine a double ballroom filled with people with the problem that your service product solves. Imagine double ballroom, everybody. People show up and you don't take the stage.
Oh, yeah.
What? We either believe in our mission, product, service, or we're on the cusp of believing bigger because there's no time to waste. There are people needing, seeking, wanting our solutions.
Yep.
And I invite you to connect with Kimberly so that she can give you stages to get that message out.
Thank you for that. Yes, I would love to help you do that. I think it's super important. And all of our stages, all of the stages that we have for summits are interview style. So you have a conversation with somebody as nice and amazing as Deborah. As a matter of fact, I think she was one of our interview hosts on Voices of Women. We have so many wonderful humans that are here to help you tell your story. We would love to help you get it out there in a bigger way. I do see that Mona may have had a question, but she can't get on the mic. If you have a question, you want to put it in the chat, I'll be happy to answer it if I can. I know that we're just a little short on time. And it looks like Wendy might have a question
Wendy,
as well.
go for it. Wendy.
Hi, I've loved listening to the two of you. It's just fabulous. What I wanted to ask you is, how did you get started speaking? What were your first subject matters?
Great question. Well, a lot of people actually ask me this question, and I was one of those people who was speaking very, very early. My very first paid speaking gig was when I was 10 years old. We sold tickets to the neighborhood to come see our magic show, and they were 10-cent tickets. We made $1.70 that day. We were rich as could be. So it was something that I've always really enjoyed doing. I've been on stages as an actress. I have done murder mystery shows. I have done equestrian polo tournament announcing. I've always enjoyed getting on the mic and sharing the message with the world. But it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I started helping other people get on the mic and share their messages with the world about who they are and how they show up. Before that, it was always some level of performance of one kind or another. But now it's really just a passion of helping people get heard and get seen out there. So I started pretty early. If you ask my family, they say I came out of the womb sharing my opinion, and I haven't shut up. But that's probably more myth than it is true.
Well, it's funny. You know, I always got in trouble in school for talking in class.
Yeah.
And they always say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I thought, if I could get paid to talk, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
Here we are. Here we are. Well,
I look forward to connecting with you.
I would love that.
Everybody connects. So thanks, Kimberly, for your time, for your expertise, for your passion, for your heart, your approachability. I love that. Your humor and your world travel. I'm going to be like on your coattails.
I love
And
it. Do it.
let's do it. And everybody, I ask you to connect with all of our speakers. Pop on that page, grab their free gifts, connect with them, join their groups, allow them to serve you because they have come here for that purpose and to spread their wealth, if you will, in their brilliance. And so I'm going to wrap this with a thank you to all of my 10 speakers. This has been nothing short of invigorating for me, and I hope for you. I am basically reminding you yet again of an opportunity to come hour with me, mastermind free. It's called The High Cost of Waiting, April 2nd, 1 p.m. Eastern. Now, it's completely free and absolutely you will get value out of it. I always say, but I can give you your money back if you don't, but if it's free, okay. So other people have gotten their money's worth spending time with me, and I invite you to take an hour on the wild side because I'm kind of wild. I also invite you to upgrade to the VIP because Camille Robb and her hubs are really feeding a lot of kids and saving people, right? Kids who come into teenager and so forth. This the commitment of her and her husband is unparalleled. And so $97, like seriously, it's not a lot of money, and it's a tax deductible contribution. So please upgrade yourself to VIP. You'll get the recordings of all 10 speakers and interviews. You'll get a session on that same day, April 2nd. And I'm going to do a session right before that at noon on stop throwing good money after bad, right? A little group coaching thing. I give a lot of value in these impromptu coaching things. And so I'd like you to take away some value there. You'll also get a manifesting your intentional wealth journal. And Iris, I'm probably missing something else. Oh, we're going to give you an invitation to sign up for a complimentary, what is it called? It's called a coaching interview or something. I am so embarrassed. This would be the opportunity for you to have a conversation with one of my team, figure out where you are now, where you want to go. And if there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to go, might be the time to consider joining the mastermind, because that one-on-one is pretty invaluable. And we've had people have transformations that have completely altered the trajectory of their life and their reach, right? Their reach. And at some point, you start getting old as us, you're thinking about legacy, right? And so we want to be the forebearers for those women and girls coming behind us and for those right around us here in this circle. So contemplate both of these things, and we will see you next time. Get the word out. Till next time, God bless. We can do it, women. Yes, we can.
I'll be there at the masterclass. We'll see you there.
Right now. Thank you. Thank you all.